today's video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll know every time I upload a video. And now, let's get started. Everybody's breast cancer journey is different. Mine began at the age of 40. I went to my annual appointment with my OBGYN and she was like, uh-oh, you're 40. Guess what that means? And I'm like, what? She's like, it's time for your first mammogram. I'm like, oh, okay. Not a big deal. As far as I knew of obviously what mammograms were, but no one in my family had breast cancer and no one even close to me had breast cancer. So for me, a mammogram was just something else that I needed to do to check off the box. And so that's exactly what I did. I had my mammogram and I didn't think much of it. About a little less than a week after I had my mammogram, I got a call saying that they saw something that they didn't like on my mammogram, and so they wanted me to come back. When this all happened, this was actually during the time of when COVID was just becoming a major issue. I had actually already gone and got my vaccine, and I was told that having your vaccine could cause your lymph nodes to swell. And so some of the abnormalities that they may have seen could actually be false just because of the vaccination. So I actually postponed. I talked to them and I told them some of the information I had read and some of the things I was told by people. And they were like, you know what, you're right. Let's go ahead and postpone it a little bit longer to follow up. Later on, I found out that was not the best idea. So we postponed it, and I think I probably put it off for about a month or so. And when I went in, we actually went and they told me how it was going to work. They were like, hey, listen, we're going to look at the right side. I will take the pictures right now and then we'll send them over to the doctor. If he sees anything he doesn't like, he'll have you come back for an ultrasound and we'll get more, details as far as what's going on. So I'm like, cool. Once again, not processing anything. Like I said, no history of breast cancer in my family. Wasn't even, to me, this was just going through the motions, just doing what I needed to do. So we took pictures. She sent them to the doctor. He asked for more pictures. And she ended up saying, okay, well, you know what? They actually do want you to come back and do an ultrasound. Still, for me, I wasn't stressed. I was like, okay, cool. I'll do the ultrasound, not processing anything. I'm just thinking, this is just part of the process. They probably just see some abnormality, but it's not a big deal. So as the technician began to do the ultrasound, the doctor wasn't in there yet. She began to do the ultrasound and she said to me, do you have a history of breast cancer in your family? And I was like, no, I do not. She's like, okay. She said, well, I see a 9.5 centimeter mass. And I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse me? She was like, yeah, we see a 9.5 centimeter mass in your right breast. And I do see some abnormal lymph nodes on that side as well. And all of a sudden, tears began just to stream down my face. I wasn't at the boo-hoo cry just yet. That came later. But I was at the, oh my gosh, something actually is wrong. And so she was like, Miss Wilson, it's okay. You did the right thing. You came and I'm sure we're catching it early, blah, 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 blah. So at this point, everything she was saying, I kind of felt like I was in a cartoon. It was just like, wah, 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 wah. All these thoughts just started running through my head because up until that moment, I had never remotely processed having breast cancer. When the doctor came in, he confirmed that he saw all of those things as well. And so they told me that the next steps would be to do a biopsy. They would send the information over to my doctor and we would kind of go from there. I went into my car and real talk, I just had a major breakdown. It was one of the most humbling moments of my life. I think this was the first time I had to process my reality that something that was very real and very present could actually cause me to lose my life. After I had my major full-blown cry, and I prayed, talked to my husband. Everybody was just like, you know what? Listen, there's no definite that it is actually malignant. It could be benign. It could very well just have been a tumor or, a cyst, and you don't have to worry about the aspect of cancer. And so that was what I was trying to operate in. Once again, I was just praying, and my husband has kind of taught me to, in order to deal with whatever is coming my way, to process what is the worst case scenario. And so that's what I had to do. The worst case scenario would have been that this actually was breast cancer, specifically that this was something that was too far gone for us to even do anything about. And so I had already processed all of that in my mind and was just really trying to say, okay, if that is the case, what happens? And everyone's like, you got to stay positive. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I do believe that being positive and, focusing on the positive actually does help. But I am a realist as well. And for me, in order to operate and to function and to not have complete meltdowns when I get information, I have to process worst case scenario. Because if I can deal with worst case scenario, that means I can get through whatever they're going to send my way. So anyways, they did have me go and do the biopsy. They weren't happy with the results. My tumor was 9.5 centimeters. And the results said that it was DCIS, which is stage 0, so ductal carcinoma. I always say that wrong. Hopefully I said that right, y'all. I apologize. But DCIS, stage 0. And my breast surgeon was like, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. So she sent me for another biopsy with contrast this time, because she wanted to see more of the area and see if they could go in a different place to actually pull the tissue for the biopsy. So they went and did that, and it still came back with minimal invasive. So the whole thing, and I'll get more into this in another video, but basically, if it's stage 0 DCIS, they treat it differently than if there's invasive cancer. And so I had a conversation with my breast surgeon, and we ultimately made the decision that and the plastic surgeon, actually. I did talk to her as well, who both of them are amazing. I had an amazing doctor. I still have an amazing team of doctors. We decided that I would go ahead and have a lumpectomy, which is a partial removal of the breast first, as opposed to the mastectomy, which would be the total removal of the breast. And this was just going to put me in a better position if I decided to do reconstruction later, as well as this would give them the opportunity to actually analyze the full tumor. Obviously, they can't do it while it's still in my chest, so they had to actually remove the tumor. So that's what I ended up doing, is having a lumpectomy. Unfortunately, I ended up finding out that I had triple negative breast cancer. And they had told me prior to surgery that if there was a centimeter of invasive breast cancer, that would mean that they would have a different treatment plan. I would have to do chemo, I would have to do radiation, and I would have to do the mastectomy. So I literally had a centimeter, y'all, a centimeter of invasive breast cancer. And so, that's what happened. I had the lumpectomy first, and then I had to, as part of my treatment, 16 rounds of chemo, and then a mastectomy after that. So I still have to do radiation, and I still have reconstruction surgery, but that's my story. We still have a long ways to go. I will do more videos to go more in detail, but if you can take anything away from this story, I did not find a lump. I had no signs of the tumor whatsoever. The only reason that I was able to determine that I even had breast cancer was because I went to get my mammogram. So please, 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 please make sure that you go and get your mammograms. This was my first one. I did genetic testing. I did not have any of the BRCA genes that are present that can say that it's possible that you may end up with cancer because of genetics. That wasn't apparent. I did all genetic testing and everything came back negative. So this was just something that happened, and we don't even know why it happened. So, after going through, honestly, so much pain, I just want this pain to have a purpose. And right now, I've come to the conclusion that my purpose is just to share my story and just bring awareness to the importance of getting your mammogram and advocating for yourself and doing monthly breast exams. I'm being completely honest. I didn't even know prior to this that we should be doing monthly breast exams. I went to my OBGYN and she definitely talked about, the breast exam and everything like that. But I don't know if I just missed it in all of, with everything that was going on. I don't know, but I know now. And so I'm telling you, please, please, please do your monthly breast exams. Make sure that you go and get your annual mammograms. And if something's not right, say something. Make sure you press your doctors until they give you the answers, because at the end of the day, you know your body better than anyone else. And so if something doesn't feel right, most likely it's not right. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening to my story. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to hear more about my story. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload. My plan is to upload once a week. So until next time, we're just going to keep fighting.